You will accept this betrayal, or I will take your share of the business and leave you on the street.
You gonna cry, big man? That's what she said. Right there in my bed. Naked. Sweaty. With my best friend underneath her. Samantha didn't even flinch when she saw me standing in the doorway. She just smirked. Like she was proud of it. Like I was the joke. Ryan, my so-called best friend, tried to pull the sheets up, stammering something pathetic. But Samantha just laughed. Laughed. Like it was some damn sitcom and I had just walked in at the punchline. And I just stood there, still holding the bottle of champagne I had picked up 5 minutes earlier. Still in the tux. Still planning to propose to her again tonight after dinner with her parents. I looked at her. And I smiled. That was the last time she saw the man who would have done anything for her. The man she mocked died in that doorway. Yeah? Now she'll meet the version of me she created. I don't know how long I stood there, champagne bottle in hand, watching the woman I was supposed to marry lock eyes with me, completely unfazed. It could have been 10 seconds or 10 years. Time been in that room. My mind was blank, but something deeper took over, something cold, calculated, and eerily calm. I didn't scream. I didn't throw the bottle. I didn't charge at Ryan, even though every instinct in me wanted to beat his smug face into the wall. I just stared. And then I smiled. Not because I was okay. Because I knew they had no idea what they'd just done. Enjoy the sheets, I said. They're Egyptian cotton. I bought them for our anniversary. Ryan opened his mouth, maybe to apologize or maybe to excuse himself like a coward. I didn't give him the chance. I turned around and walked out. Outside, the city was buzzing like nothing had happened. Cars passed. People laughed on patios. A dog barked. But in my head it was all silence, just the sound of her laugh and that one disgusting sentence repeating on a loop. You gonna cry, big man? I drove around for hours. I didn't even know where I was going. I ended up at the edge of the city near a closed marina. Parked. Watched the water. Let the numbness soak in. I replayed every moment of our engagement. Every red flag I missed. Every little gut feeling I buried because I loved her too much to suspect her. Now I realized it wasn't love. It was delusion. The Samantha I fell for wasn't real. She was a character she played. The real Samantha was lying in my bed with my best friend, making jokes about my heartbreak. That was her truth. That was who she was when she thought I was powerless. And maybe I was for a moment. But not anymore. By morning, my phone had 46 missed calls. 23 from her. 19 from Ryan. 4 from no caller ID. I didn't listen to a single voicemail. Not one. I just stared at the names and felt something in me grow harder. Sharper. Let them panic. Let them think I was crying in a motel room somewhere. I wasn't. I was planning. Later that day, I called my lawyer. His name's Marcus. We went to high school together and he's been through his own hell with a cheating ex. He picked up on the first ring. Tell me everything, he said. So I did. I told him about the apartment, the engagement, the cheating, the humiliation, the betrayal. He didn't interrupt once. When I was done, he exhaled. You're gonna play this smart, right? I already started. That same day, I moved every cent out of the joint account Samantha and I shared. She didn't know I had changed the online access codes a week earlier when I saw her leaving her phone unlocked too often. Something felt off even back then. My gut had started whispering, now it was screaming. I canceled the venue. Called the florist. Notified her parents that the engagement was off. I didn't say why. I let her explain that one. And then I booked a meeting with Ryan's boss, my old college buddy, Tyler, who owned the firm they both worked at. That was going to be the fun part. But before any of that, I sent her one message. Just one. Smile while you still can. No explanation. No context. Just that. She replied 5 minutes later. You're overreacting. It was just a stupid mistake. We were drunk. We didn't mean to hurt you. Just a stupid mistake. She said that like it wasn't the equivalent of emotional execution. Like drunk was some magical word that wiped away betrayal. I didn't reply. She sent more. Paragraphs. Then voice messages. Then a photo of her in our kitchen holding one of the mugs I bought her for her birthday. I almost threw my phone. Then came Ryan's message. Man, I'm sorry. It just happened. We didn't plan it. You know how these things go. Please don't do anything crazy. You know how these things go? Yeah. I do. I planned a wedding. They planned a betrayal. Now I'm planning the ending. And trust me, it won't be happy for them. The thing about betrayal is it doesn't just tear apart your relationship. It dismantles your identity. You start questioning every moment, every conversation, every time she said, "I love you," and you believed it like a fool. But this wasn't about heartbreak anymore. This was about justice. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't drown myself in whiskey or call my buddies for a pity party. I got to work. Quietly. Strategically. Step 1. Exposure. See, Samantha always had this fantasy of being an influencer. She wasn't famous, but she had just enough of a following to think she was. Her Instagram was full of posed brunches, gym mirror selfies, and fake deep quotes about loyalty and choosing love every day. Disgusting. She also had a private Finsta, one I found by accident months ago when she left her iPad unlocked. That account was the real her. Darker. Meaner. A place where she vented about me, about her job, even about her friends. It was full of half-naked thirst traps, comments from guys she claimed were just followers, and more than a few DMs from Ryan. I screenshot everything. Every comment. Every emoji. Every photo she'd deny ever posting. Step 2. The boss? I met Tyler for lunch that Friday. He greeted me with a hug and said, "Heard about the engagement, man? You good?" "Not really," I said, sliding him a sealed envelope across the table. "This might affect your office environment." He opened it. Looked through the photos. The screenshots. The timeline. His expression dropped from curious to nauseated in under 10 seconds. "Jesus," he muttered. "Ryan's supposed to be heading up that new expansion project, right?" I asked, taking a sip of my coffee. "Might want to reconsider." He nodded slowly. This is bad." "Not for me," I said. "I'm free now." Ryan was fired by Monday. He texted me that night, angry, desperate. "You think this fixes it? You think destroying my life makes you better than me?" I didn't reply. I wasn't done. Samantha tried to reach out too. Her messages went from apologetic to furious to pathetic in under 48 hours. "You're being cruel. You can't just disappear." "I made a mistake, okay? We were both drunk and it meant nothing." Then my favorite. "If you ever loved me, you'll talk to me." I did love her. God, I did. But that version of me died the second she smirked at me from that bed and said, "You gonna cry?" Now I was someone else. And I had one last thing to do. You see, Samantha's biggest weapon wasn't her charm, it was her connections. Her family was old money. Not billionaire rich, but wealthy enough that they assumed they were untouchable. Her father was the type who always looked at me like I was something his daughter scraped off her heel. He never liked that I was self-made. He never liked that I didn't beg him for a job or ask for his approval. So I paid him a visit. In person. He opened the door with a drink in his hand, wearing that same smug smirk his daughter inherited. "Decided to man up and beg for her back," he said. I smiled. "No," I said, handing him a folder. "Decided to return the favor." He opened it. Inside were detailed printouts of Samantha's bank activity. Unauthorized purchases from our shared account. Charges for hotel rooms, gifts she bought Ryan, and a wire transfer she made to her own private account before we got engaged. I had it all. His smile dropped. "I'm pressing charges," I said. "You can either watch your little princess get dragged through court or you can settle it quietly. Your call." He didn't say a word. But the message landed. That night, Samantha's tone changed. "Let's meet. We need to talk. Please." She thought I wanted closure. She thought I wanted an apology. What I wanted was to watch her realize she had nothing left to control. So I agreed to meet her. Neutral location. Public. No drama. I showed up early. Sat at the far end of the restaurant. Watched her walk in wearing the same perfume I used to love. She spotted me, smiled like nothing had happened, and started walking toward me. I stood up. Took one last look at her. Then I walked past her without a word and out the door. That was the last time I ever saw her. But trust me. This story's not over yet. It's strange how the absence of something can scream louder than its presence. After that night, the night I walked past her without a glance, I expected a flood. Messages, calls, rage, threats, maybe even tears. But instead, silence. And silence from Samantha was more terrifying than anything else. It meant she was plotting, calculating. Her weapon of choice had always been manipulation cloaked as emotion. And when that didn't work on me anymore, she switched tactics. But what she didn't realize was, I had already buried her. Not literally, of course. Though I won't lie, there were moments I imagined it. But emotionally? Spiritually? That version of us, of me, the man who trusted, who dreamed, who believed in forever, that guy was dead and gone. And I made peace with it. That week, I held a little funeral. No guests. No casket. Just me, a bottle of bourbon, and a fire pit in my backyard where I burned the last of her notes, old photos, and a wedding planner filled with dreams that would never breathe. Page by page, I watched it all curl into ash. The seating chart her mom obsessed over. The color scheme she fought with the designer about. The stupid little sketches of her dress she once begged me to pretend to care about. Gone. All of it. The fire crackled like it understood. I didn't cry. Not because I was strong, but because there were no tears left. She drained them all that night. What came after was clarity. And clarity is a cold friend, but a loyal one. Around day 5, Ryan resurfaced. He showed up at my place uninvited. Idiot. I opened the door and didn't even let him speak before I said, "You've got 60 seconds before I call the cops." His jaw tightened. "Look, man, I get it. I screwed up. But she told me she said you were pulling some shady revenge crap. She's scared, man." "Good," I said. He blinked. "Come on, bro. You're not like this." "Wrong. I wasn't like this. Now I am." He sighed. "She's talking about going public. Like telling everyone you were abusive. That you cheated first. She's spinning the narrative." That made me pause. Because that's when it became real. This wasn't just betrayal anymore. This was war. "Did you come here to warn me?" I asked. "Or to clear your conscience?" He hesitated. "I don't even know anymore. She's not who I thought she was." "Neither are you," I said. And then I shut the door in his face. I knew Samantha was vindictive. But weaponizing lies to cover her own tracks? That was low even for her. And the worst part? People would believe her. Because I'm a man. Because I kept silent. Because she's beautiful and fragile and has a way of crying on cue. So I took the last step. I made it public first. Not out of spite. Out of survival. I recorded a short video. No drama. No bitterness. Just facts. I explained how I walked in on my fiancée with my best friend. I showed screenshots. Dated receipts. Her voice notes. I blurred faces. I didn't name drop. But I made one thing clear. Don't let smiles fool you. Sometimes the most innocent-looking person is holding the sharpest knife. It went viral within a day. Thousands of comments. Most were supportive. Some were skeptical. But the truth had a heartbeat again. It was alive. It was out there. And with it, so was I. Samantha messaged me later that night. No rage this time. Just one line. "You think this is the end?" I stared at it. I laughed. Because I knew something she didn't. This wasn't the end. This was just the part where the mask falls off. I typed one sentence back. "No. This is where I bury the mask you wore." And then I blocked her. Deleted her number. Removed every trace of her from my world. She tried to break me. She created a monster. But she forgot, monsters don't die. They evolve. And I was just getting started. The morning after I went public, I woke up to hundreds of messages. Some from people I hadn't spoken to in years. Some from strangers. Some from men telling me their own stories, wives, girlfriends, fiancés, each betrayal unique but painfully familiar. Like a brotherhood built on broken promises and cold discoveries. One message stood out. It was from Amanda. We dated briefly in college. Nothing serious. She had a wild spirit and a sarcastic mouth, and back then I couldn't handle either. But her message wasn't about nostalgia. Saw the video. Brave move. If you ever want to build something from the rubble, I know a few things about fireproof foundations. I stared at it longer than I should have. Not because of what she said, but because I didn't recognize myself in her words. Brave. Rubble. Foundations. She was right though. Samantha had burned everything down, but I was still standing. Maybe not whole. Maybe still bleeding. But standing. And now it was time to build. First order of business, move out. That apartment had been ours, but it felt more like a crime scene now. Every room was soaked in betrayal. The kitchen where we used to slow dance while dinner burned. The hallway where she'd kiss me goodbye before pretending to go to yoga. The bedroom. Yeah, especially the bedroom. I packed in silence. No music. No distractions. Just the mechanical sound of zippers and the occasional creak of cardboard. I left a few things behind, things that weren't mine anymore. Her jewelry box. A stack of Polaroids. One of my jackets she always stole. Let her keep them. Like little trophies of the game she thought she won. I moved into a smaller place. Downtown. Brick walls, high ceilings, and nothing but space and silence. It was perfect. It was mine. And most importantly, it had no ghosts. But ghosts, as I learned, don't live in places. They live in people. A week after I moved, I got a call from Marcus, my lawyer. She filed a cease and desist, he said. Says your video was defamation. Wants it taken down. I laughed. Did you tell her the truth isn't defamation? He sighed. I did. But she's pushing. Probably hoping to scare you. Tell her I said hi. I didn't take the video down. In fact, I pinned it. Left a short update too. Still standing. Still healing. And still not sorry. That's when things turned. People started sending me her posts. Her desperate attempts at damage control. Instagram stories of her crying in front of a window with a glass of wine. Caption, I didn't deserve this hate. Fake smiles at brunch with hollow quotes about self-growth. She wanted sympathy. What she got was exposure. One of her followers messaged me a screen recording Samantha in a private group chat, mocking me. Calling me weak. Laughing about how easy it was to twist the story. She hadn't changed. She had just changed masks. So I sent the clip to Marcus. Can we use this? He replied with one word, absolutely. I wasn't done yet. I wasn't out for blood, I was out for truth. Samantha didn't just betray me. She tried to destroy me when I wouldn't play dead. And for that, she deserved the fire she lit. That week, I focused on rebuilding my company. The one she once tried to manipulate me into signing over 40% of before the wedding. Just a safety net, she'd said. What's yours is mine. Yeah, not anymore. I strengthened every contract. Cleaned up my management structure. Put layers of firewalls between my name and anyone who could exploit it again. Ryan's name was poison now in our industry. Word spread fast. Funny thing about reputations, they take years to build, seconds to shatter. Amanda messaged again. Still building. Always, I replied. She sent back a photo. Her on a construction site, hard hat and dusty boots. Same. For the first time in weeks, I smiled for real. Not because I was healed, but because I realized I wasn't rebuilding to forget her. I was rebuilding so she would be the one thing I'd never need to remember again. Not a scar. Not a lesson. Not a what if. Just gone. I wasn't surviving anymore. I was planning. Blueprints on ashes. And the future? Was mine again. There's something no one tells you about betrayal. It doesn't just haunt you, it multiplies. It lingers in the smallest things, a scent on a passing stranger, a laugh 2 tables over, a phrase in a TV show that hits too close. Ghosts don't knock. They slip under the door when you least expect them. And Samantha, she was the loudest ghost of all. I thought I was done with her. The video had gone viral, she tried to sue me and failed, Ryan was unemployed, and her influencer dreams had gone up in smoke the moment the internet turned on her. But ghosts? Ghosts don't care about consequences. They care about attention. It was 2:03 a.m. when I got the message. I'm outside. Just like that. No apology. No explanation. No shame. I pulled the curtain back and there she was, standing across the street from my building, leaning against a white car, arms folded like she had every right to be there. She looked different. Makeup smudged. Hair pulled into a lazy bun. Hoodie 3 sizes too big. She didn't look like the woman who posed for bathroom selfies and captioned them Queen Energy. She looked real. And I hated how my chest still tightened when I saw her. I didn't go outside. I didn't respond. I just stared. After 10 minutes, she walked away. An hour later, another message. I just wanted to talk. You owe me that much. Owe her? What did I owe her? The sanity she ripped from me? The nights she stole? The man I used to be? No. I didn't owe her a damn thing. But I couldn't sleep. So I poured a drink and sat down at my desk. Opened an empty document and titled it, Closure. It wasn't a letter. It wasn't for her. It was for me. I wrote everything I'd been holding in. Every moment. Every truth. Every insult I bit back. The lies I swallowed. The gaslighting. The manipulation. The way she made me feel small just to feel bigger. I wrote until the sun came up. And when I finished, I didn't hit save. I deleted the whole thing. Because that was the closure. Not the words. Not the confrontation. The silence. The choice to walk away. And never look back. Later that day, Amanda called me. Not texted, called. It surprised me, but I answered. Hey, she said. You okay? You kinda disappeared. I'm alive, I said, half laughing. I figured. But are you okay? I paused. I think I'm learning how to be. There was a silence on her end. Then, you want company? I hesitated. Not because I didn't want it, but because I didn't know what it would mean. What it would change. But I said yes. That night, she came over. No pressure. No expectations. We ordered takeout, drank whiskey, and sat on the floor like college kids again. She didn't ask about Samantha. She didn't ask about revenge. She just listened when I talked and laughed when I made a joke I didn't think was funny. And for a moment, just one, I forgot I had ever been broken. She fell asleep on the couch. I gave her a blanket and watched her breathe. And it hit me. Samantha never really saw me. Not like this. Not when I was quiet. Not when I was tired. Not when I was real. She only loved the version of me that made her feel special. Amanda? She didn't need me to be anything but present. That night, I didn't dream of betrayal. I didn't wake up sweating or angry. I just slept. And when morning came, I didn't check my phone for messages from Samantha. I didn't care. Her ghost had lost its grip. She was just a name now. A lesson. A closed chapter. And me? I was still standing. Still breathing. Still rebuilding. But now maybe I wasn't doing it alone. The next week felt like waking up in someone else's life. The apartment was clean. Quiet. Calm. Amanda's laughter still echoed faintly from the night before as if it left fingerprints on the air. For the first time in what felt like forever, I wasn't bracing for another betrayal. I wasn't checking my phone for incoming damage. I wasn't calculating my next step. But just when I thought the fire had died, Samantha tossed in one final match. It came in the form of a subpoena. Certified mail. Gold envelope. My name typed in sharp black font. Inside, her latest stunt. Petition to claim ownership of 30% of my company. Her claim? Verbal agreement and shared vision. I stared at the paper for a full minute, thinking it had to be a joke. She was going to bleed me one way or another. See, Samantha had one final weapon, and it wasn't sex or lies or charm. It was entitlement. She believed that because she almost became my wife, she deserved something for the effort. My stomach burned. I called Marcus immediately. He answered with his usual calm, but I could hear the tension rising as I explained. She thinks she can take a piece of what you built? He asked. She doesn't think, I said coldly. She manipulates. Don't worry, he assured me. We'll make sure she walks away with nothing but her pride, if that. But something shifted in me. This wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about cutting the cord, legally, emotionally, permanently. I wanted her out of my life like a tumor. No more viral videos. No more dramatic meetings. No more poetic endings. I wanted silence. But first, I wanted a win she couldn't spin. So I launched a campaign. Quiet, subtle, and brutal. My company, which had been doing well before, suddenly exploded. I expanded into 2 new cities. Landed a partnership deal with a brand I'd been chasing for a year. Investors took notice. Numbers spiked. Headlines followed. And Samantha? She got buried in the noise. All her attempts to reclaim the spotlight fell flat. Her follow count dropped. Brands quietly pulled their affiliations. Her public persona crumbled under the weight of screenshots and receipts. The internet moved on, but her shadow faded faster than she expected. The court date came. She showed up in beige. Hair slicked back. Understated makeup. The kind of look meant to scream, reasonable woman, not manipulative ex-fiancée. She didn't look at me. I didn't look at her either. I just sat beside Marcus, arms crossed, heart calm. She took the stand. Lied. Sobbed. Performed. Claimed she supported me emotionally and helped build the brand through encouragement, ideas, and unpaid labor. It was impressive. If it wasn't disgusting. Then Marcus pulled out the receipts. Not the financial ones. The emotional ones. Screenshots of her mocking my company in texts to Ryan. Messages where she joked about dumping the nerd once she cashed in. Photos of her flaunting gifts Ryan bought with our shared money. The judge's face didn't flinch. But I saw the shift in his eyes. 10 minutes later, her entire claim was denied. No appeal. No payout. No settlement. Nothing. She left the courtroom pale and silent. Not defeated. Erased. And that's what I wanted. Not revenge. Oblivion. I stepped outside into the cold air, the city buzzing around me, and felt something I hadn't felt in months. Freedom. I didn't text Amanda right away. I just walked for a while. Breathed. Smiled to myself. Eventually, I sent a message. It's done. She replied 2 minutes later. Then you're free. What are you gonna do with that freedom? I stared at the screen. Then I typed. Live. For real this time. That night, I didn't open champagne. I didn't make some dramatic post online. I didn't burn anything. I just sat on my balcony, alone, for a few minutes. No ghosts. No noise. Just peace. And then I called Amanda. Because for the first time since everything started, I wasn't looking back anymore. Amanda answered on the second ring. Hey, she said, her voice warm, like it had been waiting all day to hear mine. It's over, I said. Completely. I know, she replied. I saw the news. Your company's trending. Again. I laughed, not a bitter laugh, not a broken one, but something new. Something lighter. Feels weird, I admitted. Like, I should be celebrating, but I don't know how. You don't need fireworks, she said. You just need to breathe. So I did. I closed my eyes, leaned back into the balcony chair, and let the night hold me. No noise. No revenge plan running in the background. No courtroom anxiety or public fallout or haunting memories of her voice saying, "You gonna cry?" That version of me was gone. Buried. Replaced by someone who didn't break, didn't fade, didn't lose. I survived. I rose. And I did it without ever needing her apology. Later that week, Amanda came over again. This time, she didn't bring whiskey or Chinese takeout. She brought a hammer and 2 cans of paint. "What's this?" I asked. "A ritual," she smirked. "You're officially post-trauma. That wall," she pointed to the bare brick near my bookshelf, "needs new energy." We spent the evening painting, laughing, turning the wall into something messy and colorful and completely ours. It wasn't art. It wasn't even good. But it was free. When we finished, we stood back and stared at the chaos of color. "What do you see?" she asked. I smiled. A man who finally let go. And I meant it. Because Samantha no longer lived in my head. Her betrayal wasn't a bleeding wound anymore, it was scar tissue. Hard, healed, and a reminder that I'd survived worse than heartbreak. I started traveling again. Took the meetings I'd been pushing off. Launched a mentorship program for young entrepreneurs, guys who had drive but no direction. Funny how pain has a way of pointing you toward purpose. And the more I built, the more she faded. Rumors floated around for a while. She moved cities. Tried rebranding online under a new name. Spiritual coach, I think. Same narcissism, different mask. But I didn't care. She was dust in the rear view. I even ran into Ryan once. Airport terminal. He looked older somehow. Smaller. We locked eyes. He nodded. I didn't. I just walked past him. Because ghosts only have power when you acknowledge them. He didn't follow. Didn't call out. Maybe he finally understood. And if he didn't? That's his burden now, not mine. Months passed. Amanda and I didn't label anything. We didn't need to. We just fit. There were nights of laughter, mornings with coffee and shared playlists, long drives without destinations. And not once did I check her phone. Not once did I wonder where she was when she stepped outside. That's how I knew I'd healed. One night, we were sitting by a fire pit, my second one, this time at a cabin miles from the city. Amanda looked at me, half smiling. If you could say one thing to her now, what would it be? I thought for a second. Then said calmly, "Thank you." Because I meant it. Not because I forgave her. Not because she deserved it. But because without her betrayal, I never would have met the man I became after the storm. I never would have cut the people who didn't deserve me. Never would have sharpened my edges. Never would have found Amanda. And maybe that's the paradox of pain. It destroys what was never meant to last, so something stronger can take its place. So here I am. Not broken. Not bitter. Just better. To the man reading this, if you've ever stood in that doorway like I did, if you've ever been mocked, cheated on, torn down, know this. You are not weak for hurting. You are not foolish for loving. And you are not alone. But when you decide to rise, make sure you do it so loud, the people who tried to bury you have no choice but to watch. This isn't a revenge story. It's a resurrection. And I'm still writing it. Every damn day.